Harry Warden has come back for revenge in the town of Valentine Bluffs after they announced a hosting of a Valentine's party 20 years after his murders. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody, and welcome back to my channel and my first ever holiday movie review. Today we're going to be looking at My Bloody Valentine, released in 1981 and directed by George Mahalka. I may have messed up the name, but that's the best I can read it. I was very excited about watching this movie because it is an early 80s slasher, which means it's probably a ripoff of Friday the 13th, which I love, and this movie lives up to it. I thought that this was 100% a B horror movie. Super goofy, super funny, and you're either completely on board for this or completely off board for this. And for me, I was on board for it. I loved the goofiness of it. I loved the humor that it went for. And this movie was surprisingly very gory and had some very good kills that I was not expecting it. I should say that I did watch the uncut version of this movie, and I can tell you now it's probably the way to watch this movie. I couldn't imagine watching this with the kills all hacked up and cut up. I love the version that I watched, and it paid off watching the kills in the uncut version. So starting off with what I liked, I thought the lore of this town was hilarious, especially the way that the sheriff explained it, of how this killer killed a bunch of the town members of Valentine Bluff 20 years ago because he was with 4 other guys in the mine shafts while there was a Valentine party going on Valentine's Day. The supervisors of the job didn't check all of their marks before hurrying off to the Valentine party, in which the mine shaft blew up, burying the 5 men alive, and Harry, being the last final survivor, turning into a cannibal by the time that he is found, in which he is sent off to an insane asylum. And a year later, on Valentine's Day, he comes back and takes revenge on the town, killing a lot of the members. And fast forward 20 years, the town is trying to forget their past and start up a new Valentine's Day dance, and someone is not happy about it. So like I said, I really liked the atmosphere of this town, and it's kind of like a mine town, and I think it's hilarious that it's called Valentine Bluffs. It just adds to the B movie of this film, and it works really well for me. It definitely has that mine town feel to it. Very small town, not a lot of members. You kind of know everybody in the town while you're watching the movie, and I really enjoyed the characters for what they were. Definitely Friday the 13th ripoff-ish with the characters, and for some people that's going to be a downgrade on the movie. For me it worked because I love those type of characters. I love the dumb, clueless slasher characters that have no idea what they're doing and that are super goofy, so it really worked for me. I thought the mineshaft guys were super funny at times, and they were likable for me, as well as the girls of the town, which are like all the guys' girlfriends. I really enjoyed all the characters. I didn't think they were horrible at all. I mean, they're basic slasher movie characters, and a lot of people aren't gonna like that, but for me it worked because I love those type of characters. And the super goofy characters of the sheriff and the mayor. I'll talk about some of what I didn't like with the mayor and his lines, but I thought these were super goofy characters and it worked for the movie for me. The sheriff gave off a pretty good performance, chasing down this killer, trying to find out who it is, and I thought that was a good dynamic of the movie, him trying to find out who this killer is and trying to track him down and finding all these clues. The killer would leave real hearts of his victims in the heart-shaped Valentine's Day boxes, which I thought was really cool. I liked that aspect of the movie and it worked very well. And I really liked the look of the killer. He's got this mineshaft suit on with the mineshaft mask, and it's one of the coolest slasher villains that I've seen in a long time. I think that he looks very cool, and I'm surprised that he didn't become a horror icon back in the day, back in the 80s. I thought for sure that this series would get like 5 or 6 sequels, especially with how Friday the 13th and Halloween kicked off in the same time period that this came out. So very surprised that he didn't get a huge series, because he's a very cool looking character, and I think he would have been iconic. And the kills were a big shocker to me in this movie. Of course I watched the uncut version like I said, but the gore in this movie was very surprising. There are some very inventive and great kills in this movie. It's definitely like I said, it's a Friday the 13th ripoff, but it's a good Friday the 13th ripoff. And you can tell that instead of copying Friday the 13th, they learned from Friday the 13th and went and made their own thing. And I can respect that a lot. There are some very inventive kills, like the dryer kill that has really good effects to it. And of course it was goofy, and the sheriff's reaction to that kill was hilarious. I don't know what type of reaction that was, but it got a laugh out of me. You got the shower kill where he puts the girl's head through a shower head down in the mine shaft, and when her boyfriend comes back, there's water coming out of her mouth. I thought that was a classic kill. And you got, of course, the kill that's on the front cover of the Blu-ray that I have, where he puts the pickaxe through up the guy's throat and out his eyeball. That was a very good visual gore effect, practical effect. I thought it looked amazing. And then you have that scene of him dragging the body with the pickaxe sticking through his head, and just a super cool gory shot. The kills in this movie do not disappoint, and there are quite a bit of them. This movie is not lackluster in the kill count, and I think it has a good balance throughout the movie. Kills almost everybody associated in this town. So moving on to the few things I didn't like. The mayor had one of the worst lines at the beginning of the movie. After the first kill, after the opening kill, the sheriff gets sent this heart-shaped box in which he opens it and finds a real heart of the first victim of the movie. And his reaction to that was just hilarious. Really bad if you don't like that type of B-movie-ish, but really funny if you're on board with it. And I don't think that one particularly worked for me. I thought when I first seen that at the beginning of the movie, I was just like, oh boy, what did I get myself into? Now that I look back on it, I think it's hilarious, but his reaction to that first look at the real heart was hilarious. And throughout the movie you have these two miners, which I can't really remember the names, but they're feuding over this one girl in the town because one of them was dating her, and then split out of the town for a reason that is never explained. So this other guy gets with her. Well, the other guy comes back and finds out that she found a new guy because he left and didn't say anything, never called her or anything like that. And these two guys are kind of going at it the entire movie. And although it does kind of fit for a Valentine's horror movie, I guess you do kind of have to have a little bit of a romance drama going on. But it does get to a point where it's a little bit much. But by the end, it does kind of pay off because she becomes the final girl. And I think that she's a pretty good final girl for this B movie. She's kind of been going through it this whole movie because of the feud between these two guys. She's not really sure who she wants to be with, and it kind of builds to the strength of this girl by the end of the movie when she's fighting off this killer. The big ending reveal, which they had to rip off of Friday the 13th. They had to have a big spin at the end of the movie, which is kind of in my negatives because the killer turns out to be, I think his name is Xavier, if I'm remembering right. I might have that wrong, but it is the guy that she got with after her original boyfriend left. He turns out to be the killer and not Harry. Harry is found out to have died 5 years ago, and I didn't really like that. I would have rather it been Harry coming back from the dead and killing the town because they started up another Valentine's Day party. But it wasn't a bad twist ending. Of course, I purely believe that they did that because of Friday the 13th's twist ending that they had. So it kind of worked, kind of didn't work. I would have rather it been Harry, but it was an okay twist. It definitely caught me off guard. So overall, I thought this was a very, very fun 80s slasher movie, and it really surprised me with how much I liked it. I didn't think it was going to be as good as I think it is. So I'm giving this one a 4 out of 5 stars because everything worked for me. This is just the type of B horror movie that I look for in a B movie. I think I'll be watching this every Valentine's Day from years to come, and it really just worked for me. The humor worked for me. The kills were awesome. The setting of the town was awesome, and I really liked it. Just my type of stuff. I love the characters. I thought they were hilarious at times, goofy at other times, but really worked for me. This is a 4 out of 5 movie for me. So let me know what you guys think of My Bloody Valentine. Am I being too generous with it? Do you guys hate this movie? Do you guys like this movie? Let me know down in the comments and we can have a discussion about it. On the road to 500 subscribers. Once I get there, I'll be dropping my top 25 horror movies of all time. Have a good Valentine's Day. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next one.